In a world overflowing with miracle cures and quick-fix diets, there's something quietly reassuring about returning to nature's own medicine cabinet. For centuries, cultures around the globe have relied on the healing properties of plants, roots, and herbs to restore balance in the body. And while modern medicine has achieved wonders, a growing number of people are rediscovering the wisdom of simpler remedies that don't require a prescription, a laboratory, or even much money. Instead, they're found in the earth, in the garden, and sometimes in a humble cup of tea. Few people understand this better than Barbara O'Neill, the respected Australian health educator and naturopath, whose teachings have inspired thousands to take charge of their own well-being. Barbara is not your typical wellness influencer. She doesn't promise overnight miracles or sell expensive supplements. Instead, she invites people to tune into the natural rhythms of their bodies and to harness the power of everyday foods like herbal teas to gently support healing from within. One herbal tea, in particular, has caught the attention of Barbara and her followers. It's not one you'll see in glossy magazines or trending on social media, and its flavor is famously intense. Yet its potential benefits, especially for those concerned about blood sugar and type 2 diabetes, are drawing attention far beyond the natural health community. This tea is made from bitter melon, a wrinkled, emerald green fruit revered in traditional medicine, but only now beginning to make waves in the West. But why should anyone care about a bitter-tasting tea? The answer lies in both tradition and science. For generations, bitter melon has been brewed into tonics and teas to help manage blood sugar levels. Modern research is now beginning to validate what folk healers have known for centuries. The plant contains compounds that may act like natural insulin, helping the body handle sugar more efficiently. And for those struggling with blood sugar imbalances, this humble tea could offer a ray of hope. As Barbara O'Neill often reminds her audience, the journey to healing rarely comes from a single source. It's about weaving small, sustainable changes into daily life changes that empower the body to find its own balance. In the pages ahead, we'll explore how bitter melon tea works, why Barbara recommends it, and what makes this simple drink such a powerful ally in the quest for better health. What is this? Herbal tea. Barbara O'Neill, a well-known Australian health educator and naturopath, has long emphasized the healing power of nature, especially through simple, accessible remedies like herbal teas. Among her teachings, one natural drink stands out for its powerful effect on blood sugar levels: bitter melon tea. Not a household name for many, bitter melon has been used for centuries in traditional Chinese and Indian medicine to manage high blood sugar. And now, it's catching the attention of people around the world who are searching for a more natural approach to type 2 diabetes. But what exactly is bitter melon? It's a tropical vine closely related to zucchini and cucumber, with a distinctively wrinkled skin and an extremely bitter taste. While the flavor might be challenging, the potential benefits are compelling. Bitter melon contains compounds that act similarly to insulin, helping glucose enter cells more efficiently and reducing sugar levels in the blood. Some studies suggest that regular consumption of bitter melon can lead to a measurable drop in fasting blood sugar and even improve insulin sensitivity. Barbara O'Neill recommends this tea not as a miracle cure, but as part of a broader philosophy. She often says that the body has an amazing ability to heal when given the right tools, and bitter melon tea is one such tool. It's easy to prepare. Simply slice fresh bitter melon or use dried slices. Steep them in hot water for 10-15 minutes, and drink it once or twice daily. Its natural compounds charantin, vicine, and polypeptide P have been shown to mimic insulin, reduce glucose production in the liver, and increase glucose uptake in the muscles. Still, Barbara's message isn't just about one tea. It's about listening to your body and supporting its healing processes. She teaches that herbal teas like bitter melon can serve as powerful allies in a natural toolkit. And in the case of type 2 diabetes, where long-term damage builds silently over years, this kind of gentle daily support may be the spark that shifts everything. And here's something fascinating. Bitter melon isn't just a folk remedy. In 2022, a clinical trial published in the Journal of Ethnopharmacology found that patients with type 2 diabetes who consumed bitter melon extract daily had significant reductions in both fasting blood sugar and post-meal glucose spikes. That kind of result gives new weight to O'Neill's teachings and raises the question what other everyday plants are hiding in plain sight, just waiting to help. How this tea affects blood sugar. Most people think of insulin resistance and high blood sugar as problems that require only medication. But what if a simple cup of tea, something as ordinary as bitter melon, could shift the way your body responds to sugar? Bitter melon tea. According to both traditional knowledge and modern science, affects blood sugar on multiple levels. It doesn't just help lower it. It helps the body use it better. Here's how one of the key compounds in bitter melon, called charantin, has insulin-like properties. It encourages your muscle cells to absorb glucose from the bloodstream, which naturally lowers blood sugar levels. In essence, it acts like a natural form of insulin. But there's more. Another component, polypeptide P, mimics insulin and is especially effective in reducing blood glucose in people with type 2 diabetes. Then there's vicine, which contributes to better blood sugar regulation, particularly after meals. Together, these compounds form a kind of herbal trifecta, supporting your body in doing what it was meant to do: maintain balance. Barbara O'Neill often emphasizes that blood sugar issues aren't just about what you eat, but also how your body metabolizes food. And bitter melon tea can improve that metabolic response. In fact, a 2020 study from the Journal of Medicinal Food found that drinking bitter melon tea consistently over 12 weeks led to marked improvements in blood glucose levels and even slight weight loss, especially in individuals who combined it with dietary changes. This tea also works by slowing the absorption of glucose in the intestines. That means after a meal, your blood sugar doesn't spike as sharply. For people with type 2 diabetes or those in the pre-diabetic range, this is crucial. Those sharp spikes and crashes not only lead to fatigue and cravings, but also long-term damage to the eyes, kidneys, nerves, and heart. What Barbara points out, which many overlook, is that consistent small steps, like sipping this tea after meals, can have compounding effects over time. This isn't about fast fixes. It's about retraining the body to stabilize, to regain equilibrium. And here's something you may not know. Some researchers believe that bitter melon may also help protect the pancreatic beta cells, the cells responsible for producing insulin. That means the tea isn't just managing symptoms. It might be supporting the actual function of the body's internal sugar-regulating system. Of course, no tea can replace a doctor's advice or medications where needed. But when used wisely, bitter melon tea could become a daily habit that nudges your body back toward balance. It's one of those rare, Quiet interventions, simple, natural, and powerful when given time. For Barbara O'Neill, bitter melon tea is just one piece of a much bigger picture. Her approach to reversing type 2 diabetes is built on a deep respect for how the body heals itself when given the right support. And that support, she often reminds her audience, comes from daily choices: what we eat, how we move, how we rest, and even how we think. One of her most consistent messages is about the power of whole foods. Barbara strongly discourages the consumption of refined sugars, white flours, and processed snacks. She calls them the white devils because they silently wreak havoc on blood sugar. Instead, she urges people to return to what she calls God-made foods: fresh vegetables, legumes, whole grains like millet or quinoa, and low-glycemic fruits like berries and green apples. But here's a strategy many overlook: gut health. Barbara teaches that the gut isn't just where digestion happens. It's where immune regulation, inflammation control, and even insulin response begin. A damaged gut lining can lead to chronic inflammation, which worsens insulin resistance. To heal the gut, she recommends fermented foods like sauerkraut, coconut kefir, and even homemade yogurt, along with soothing herbs like slippery elm and aloe vera juice. Another key strategy: movement after meals. Barbara is a strong advocate for walking even just 15 minutes after eating because it helps lower post-meal glucose spikes. This simple habit can dramatically reduce the load on your pancreas and improve insulin sensitivity over time. She also talks about hydration, but not just drinking water randomly. She suggests drinking water between meals, not during them, to support digestion. And she always recommends warm water first thing in the morning to help wake up the liver and kidneys. 2. Key players in blood sugar regulation. One of the lesser-known tips she shares is the concept of cellular housekeeping through intermittent fasting or controlled meal timing. Giving the body longer periods without food, especially refined carbs, allows insulin levels to drop and gives the body a chance to start burning fat for energy. This is critical for reversing insulin resistance. And then, there's the emotional and mental side. Barbara emphasizes peace, routine, and forgiveness as forms of healing. Chronic stress elevates cortisol, which interferes with insulin. So she teaches people to create calm in their homes and minds through prayer, journaling, or time in nature. Healing, she says, is just as much about the heart as the pancreas. These strategies don't cost much. They're rooted in daily rhythms and respect for the body. But what they offer is priceless: a chance to turn the tide on chronic illness. Not through struggle, but through steady, natural change. Foods and drinks to pair or avoid with this tea. Drinking bitter melon tea is a powerful step, but what you eat and drink alongside it can either support its effects or quietly undo the progress. Barbara O'Neill emphasizes that food should work with your body, not against it. So if you're adding bitter melon tea to your routine, knowing what to pair and what to avoid can make all the difference. Let's start with what to pair it with. Barbara often encourages her listeners to focus on low-glycemic, high-fiber foods that slow the absorption of sugar and prevent spikes in blood glucose. Leafy greens like kale, spinach, and chard are staples in her recommendations. These vegetables are not only rich in nutrients but also contain compounds that help improve insulin sensitivity. Legumes, such as lentils, black beans, and chickpeas, are another cornerstone of her dietary advice. They provide protein and fiber that help keep you full. And they release glucose slowly, helping to maintain steady blood sugar levels. When combined with bitter melon tea, these foods create a kind of team effort that supports glucose control throughout the day. Fruits. Yes, but only the right ones. Barbara suggests green apples, berries, kiwi, and grapefruit, which are naturally lower in sugar and rich in antioxidants that help fight inflammation. These fruits pair well with bitter melon tea because they don't trigger the same rapid sugar release as bananas, pineapples, or grapes. Nuts and seeds also play a role. Almonds, flax seeds, and chia seeds are particularly good. They provide healthy fats and protein, which helps slow digestion and reduce sugar spikes. Having a handful of nuts with a meal or adding chia seeds to a smoothie can work harmoniously with the effects of the tea. Now, what should you avoid? Barbara is very clear about. One thing: refined sugar is the enemy of healing. Candies, pastries, soda, and even most store-bought fruit juices contain hidden sugars that lead to sharp spikes and long-term insulin resistance. Drinking bitter melon tea while eating cookies is like putting water on a fire and then pouring gasoline right after. She also warns against white flour products like white bread, pasta, and crackers. These break down into sugar quickly and cause the very glucose fluctuations the tea is trying to prevent. Instead, she recommends whole grains in moderation like oats, barley, and buckwheat. Surprisingly, Barbara also points out that some healthy drinks can sabotage blood sugar. Smoothies packed with bananas, dates, and sweetened yogurt, for instance, can be sugar bombs in disguise. And while fruit juices may seem natural, they're stripped of fiber and concentrated in fructose, which hits the bloodstream fast. Her advice is simple but wise. Eat real food. Eat it slowly. And pair it with purpose. When you combine bitter melon tea with these blood sugar-friendly foods and remove the ones that disrupt your metabolism, you're not just drinking a tea. You're creating an environment where healing becomes possible. Sometimes the most powerful medicine isn't found in a pill bottle, but in someone else's story. Barbara O'Neill has met thousands of people in her travels as a health educator. But one story she often shares captures the heart of her philosophy. Meet John, a 63-year-old retired teacher from Queensland, Australia. A few years ago, John was diagnosed with type 2 diabetes. His blood sugar levels were rising fast. He was constantly tired, frequently thirsty, and battling stubborn weight gain around his waist. His doctor prescribed metformin and gave him the usual advice: watch your diet, try to exercise. But nothing seemed to change. His blood sugar kept creeping up, and so did his frustration. That's when he stumbled across one of Barbara O'Neill's health seminars on YouTube. He was struck not just by her knowledge, but by her calm belief that the body can heal when we get out of its way. He decided to try her suggestions for 30 days. What have I got to lose? He thought. John began with small steps. He cut out white sugar, bread, and pasta, things he hadn't even realized were spiking his blood sugar. He replaced them with lentils, leafy greens, and rolled oats. He started drinking bitter melon tea twice a day, morning and evening. At first, he found the taste difficult, but he reminded himself healing isn't always comfortable. He also followed Barbara's advice to walk after every meal, even if just for 10 minutes around his backyard. Within 2 weeks, he noticed he wasn't crashing after lunch anymore. His energy was returning. By week 4, he had lost 5 pounds without even trying, and his morning blood sugar readings had dropped significantly. Encouraged, John kept going. He added in fermented vegetables to help his gut. He began drinking warm water every morning and kept a consistent meal routine. Within 3 months, his doctor was surprised, not just by his weight loss, but by his improved insulin response. John was able to reduce his medication under medical supervision. By 6 months, his A1C and average of blood sugar over time had moved out of the diabetic range. What made the biggest difference, he says, wasn't just the tea or the food. It was the mindset. He stopped seeing diabetes as a sentence and started seeing it as a signal to change, to simplify, to heal. Stories like John's don't mean that everyone will have the same outcome, but they do show what's possible. They prove that natural strategies, when applied consistently, can give the body the tools it needs to restore balance. And that, more than anything, is the heart of Barbara O'Neill's message. Caution. When herbal teas may not be enough, it's easy to get excited about natural remedies, especially when they're as accessible and affordable as herbal tea. But Barbara O'Neill is the first to remind people that healing is not one size fits all. While bitter melon tea and other natural strategies can be powerful, they are not magic bullets, and relying on them without guidance can sometimes do more harm than good. One of the most common mistakes people make is assuming that because something is natural, it's automatically safe in any amount. But bitter melon, while beneficial, can lower blood sugar to dangerous levels if combined with certain medications, especially insulin or sulfonylureas. This can lead to hypoglycemia, a sharp drop in blood sugar that causes dizziness, sweating, confusion, and even fainting. Barbara encourages people to always work with a qualified healthcare provider when making big changes, particularly when reducing medications or introducing herbal remedies. Self-diagnosing and self-treating without regular monitoring can lead to serious complications. The goal is balance, not risk. Another issue is that herbal teas and diet changes often take time to show results. Some people get discouraged after just a week or two and give up. But as Barbara teaches, type 2 diabetes develops over years. It won't disappear overnight. The body needs consistent, gentle support, not sudden, drastic fixes. And for some, especially those with advanced diabetes or multiple chronic conditions, natural remedies must be paired with conventional medicine for safety and effectiveness. It's also worth noting that bitter melon may not be appropriate for everyone. Pregnant women, people with liver issues, or those with certain enzyme deficiencies should avoid it or use it only under supervision. The tea can also interact with other herbs or supplements, especially those that affect blood sugar or blood pressure. Then there's the emotional side. Many people carry guilt, shame, or anxiety around their diagnosis. They may feel like they failed or like their body has betrayed them. In her talks, Barbara gently reminds people that blame never heals, but awareness does. The focus isn't on what you did wrong, but on what you can do next. So while bitter melon tea is a powerful ally, it's just one part of a much larger journey. It works best in a context of education, intention, and ongoing care. The real solution isn't a single leaf in a teacup. It's a lifestyle, a rhythm, a return to nature and nourishment. In the end, the most healing choice isn't the one that promises fast results. It's the one you can sustain with peace, with purpose, and with the support of those who truly care about your health. It's easy to overlook the small things. A simple tea made from a bitter fruit, a short walk after dinner, a daily rhythm of clean eating and calm breathing. But as Barbara O'Neill has shown time and again, it's often these humble habits that hold the key to restoring health. Type 2. Diabetes is not a life sentence. It's a signal. A message from your body asking for change, asking for care. And while bitter melon tea alone won't reverse years of damage, it can be a powerful companion on the journey back to balance. It's not just about lowering blood sugar. It's about reclaiming your energy, your clarity, and your peace of mind. We've explored how this tea works, what to eat alongside it, the importance of gut health and routine, and even the emotional side of healing. We've seen how a man named John took simple advice and changed the course of his health. And we've been reminded that while nature provides many answers, it's up to us to listen and act. So maybe the next step is simple. Brew a cup. Rethink your next meal. Take a walk. And if you know someone struggling with type 2 diabetes, share this video. You never know. This might be the moment that starts their healing. Because sometimes, what seems too small to matter is exactly what makes all the difference.